You are watching The Dawn Show, so we have Dr. Beth, Dr. Catherine, Holy Redeemer. We're talking about breast health, and this is so important, and a lot of people don't realize the link between fat, just one more reason to get rid of the fat in our bodies, but the link between fat and cancers. So is this why in other countries where we don't have the obesity problem, that they don't have the cancer issues that maybe we have in America?
It's a couple things. First of all, in industrialized countries, there is an increased incidence of breast cancer because we do have higher body fat. We tend to not have our children as young, and we tend not to breastfeed. So it's kind of a trifecta of things that we've done, and we've done them to ourselves. We've made choices, and it's not right or wrong. It's just that we're seeing the effects of it. In third world countries where women give birth young, they breastfeed their children, and they don't have high body fat, they don't have the same high incidence that we have. So we can say we've got opportunities for improvement. We don't like to tell our patients there's something wrong with you. You've got an opportunity for improvement. And so when we can look at other countries that have lower incidence and say, how can we get back to that place? How can we take what we know and bring it into our daily practice? And we try every day. We have very difficult conversations with our patients. We treat the cancers, we diagnose the stuff, or we find people that are high risk. And some of the toughest talks are the ones when we sit in our little stool in the bottom and our patients are up on the exam table, and I say, you know what, let's get to the root of your estrogen. They're like, well, my ovaries are out. So what do you mean the root of my estrogen? And I'm like, it's what lies between your breasts and your hips. And they go, what? And I go, FAT. They go, what does that stand for? And I go, fat.
I like to refer to it as the badlands of the body.
Or the menopause. But Catherine, I'll tell you, how many patients have you empowered to change their life?
So many. And it's amazing because when you see them, when you first diagnose them with maybe a precancerous condition, and you sit down and you have this whole conversation of what can we do? What can you do to reduce your risk of breast cancer? Not what can I do for you, but what can you do for yourself? And you empower them to start exercising, you empower them to eat right, and they come back 6 months later and they've lost 15 pounds and they're working out and they've converted their body fat to muscle. And not only did you reduce your risk of breast cancer, but heart disease, so many colon cancers, so many other things are linked to that excess body fat that you really have improved pretty much their whole health.
Do you think that it was wise then when they changed obesity to a disease? Do you agree with that? There was a big hoopla over that.
I know. I think they did it to get procedures covered. I don't know why they did that, but to me, it's not about the weight that's on the scale, it's about your body composition. Because if you look at I don't think I look fat, but if you look at what my weight is on the scale, it's a lot higher than people would think because I have a lot of muscle. So it's about what your body's composed of. Muscle weighs more than fat, muscle burns more calories than fat, and it's the fat that's the issue. Fat cells are little factories, and this is my favorite conversation because people really start to listen and they look at you really closely. I'm like, what do you mean the fat cells are factories? I'm like, well, in your body you have these fat cells. So the more fat cells you have, the more factories you have. And in those little fat cell factories, they have these little precursors. And if they are given the stimulation from this enzyme that we make in our adrenal glands called aromatase, it triggers that conversion to estrone and estradiol. And they are the estrogen sources that can stimulate the growth of cancer cells. So the more fat cells you have, the more
little factories you have.
Exactly. So we actually have medicines called aromatase inhibitors, which are medicines we give to our patients to block the production of estrogen. So what we've tried to do in our practice is say, okay, so if you have an estrogen-driven cancer and we're going to put you on these little fat factory stoppers called aromatase inhibitors, you got 5 years on that drug. So during those 5 years, that's your opportunity to improve the factory's entire, outlook. And that's when the discussions about health and wellness really kick in because patients say, wow, if I can make a difference, if I can drop my body fat, increase my lean muscle mass, and it's not about getting skinny, it's about fitness, it's about getting fit, teaching them that exercise is not a 4-letter word, teaching them that, food is nutrition, food is your health. And that's where, thank God for the foundation because we now have exercise programs, we've got healthy cooking for life programs. We've created an opportunity for our patients to not just say, this is what we'd like you to do. Catherine can say, hey, there's a course starting in 3 weeks. Why don't you go and figure out how to really eat a healthy diet?
Let's talk about the foundation and talk about eating whole foods when we come right back. So welcome back to the Dawn Show. There is a lot that you can do, that we all can do, to take care of ourselves and actually prevent cancers, and in particular breast cancers and female cancers. So back here we've got Dr. Beth, Dr. Catherine. It's a great conversation to have, and I think a lot of people don't realize there's so much that we can all do. And it doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, no matter what your age, a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm in my 60s, I'm in my 70s. It's too late to change.
Well, you can also empower those other women in your life that are younger than you. We have brochures in our office called Think Pink, Live Green that the foundation did in conjunction with breastcancer.org, and patients love it. They'll sit there, and it's 31 things that you can do to decrease your risk. So it's not just for you, it's for the future generations. Like, what can your children do? What can your grandchildren do? And I know they're constantly being replaced because patients come out and they stuff them in their pocketbook and they'll go,
and they take a couple.
Can I take one for my friend?
Yeah, for my daughter or my granddaughter, because they know that if they can make a change, everyone can make a change as well.
I want to talk a little bit about HCF, your foundation, Healing Consciousness Foundation. In other words, you're a breast cancer surgeon, so you're a surgeon. Why would you want to start a foundation that talks about healing consciousness? What does that mean?
Well, I say we all, Catherine, myself, Amanda, and Stacy, the four of us who are breast surgeons, we know how to treat the cancer. We do a very good job at treating cancer, but we realize that after we treat the physical manifestations of cancer, there are so many other things that we need to do for our patients that standard insurance doesn't cover it, and patients don't have the funding for it. So it was something that, you know, I decided to do back in 2006, and I have to say it's one of the things that has, I think, created an affinity to our practice at Holy Redeemer, because patients come and they know they're not just going to get state-of-the-art Western medicine, clinical trials, the best medical care they can get. They know they're going to get that after cancer care. And Catherine's patients she has a couple pretty amazing patients who have kind of taken the ball and run with it. And just this week, didn't one of your patients have an event?
Right, one of my patients just had an event. It was called Bikers for Boobs, and it was a very healthy beef and beer, raising money for the foundation. And she's such an inspiration, diagnosed with cancer, but been such a healthy person, like spiritually afterwards, that she really, I think from the foundation standpoint, she's taken a lot of the spiritual, the emotional foundation, the emotional support we give with the foundation, and really helped empower that with her.
So it's about positive energy too.
Yeah,
it is. It's about looking at the mind, body, and spirit. Physically, we treat the body, you know, for the manifestations of cancer, and then there's that whole spiritual piece about, you know, what matters in your life, who matters in your life, and what are you doing to nurture your soul? And emotionally, being able to get to a safe place where you don't live in fear again. And once you can release fear, you get out of the paralysis zone. And so then it empowers you to eat a healthier diet, to exercise, to move, to spend time with the people that you love. And I heard something on the radio today just coming in that someone's loved one had passed, and they said, well, you know, how are you dealing with this? And this gentleman said that before his wife died, he said, you know, don't sit around and be sad that I'm no longer here. Take all the love that you have for me and spread it around to the rest of the world.
Aww,
and I thought that
so
was
beautiful.
It was such an amazing message, and I thought, oh my God, you know, why do we not think of that? You know, so I thanked him for it and said, sir, I don't know who you are on the radio, but I'm going to steal it from you. But that's one of the things that, you know, through the foundation, we're allowed to help patients heal from a place of love and remind them to truly take care of themselves, because cancer is a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call that rocks you to your core. And there are some people who get cancer and treat the cancer, but then hunkered down in the bunker, hoping to never see it again and hoping it doesn't resurface. And what we've tried to do with the foundation is give our patients the building blocks to be able to not just overcome the physical manifestations of cancer, but also the emotional and spiritual things that come along with it.
And I've actually, I guess, thought of that before. Are there personality types? And you've documented this to say, you know, our emotional state, the way we harbor stress, harbor anger, all of that can actually cause cancer or make that healing process so much worse. So it's amazing. But we're going to have a part 2 with the both of you, so we can talk more, get into the health aspect of it, and eating, and how we can all make our lives healthier. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.